All right, so today we're diving into something a little different.
Hmm.
It's a children's book called Peter's Acorn Adventure.
Oh, interesting.
I know what you're thinking,
Yeah.
but trust me on this.
Okay.
There's more to this whimsical tale than meets the eye.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Okay, so we're going to explore this story
Okay.
about a family of squirrels
Oh, wow.
getting ready for winter.
Okay.
And get this, it's told in 3 languages:
3.
Italian, English, and German.
Wow.
And on each page, there are these QR codes that let you hear the story.
Oh, cool.
Read out loud in each of the languages.
That's fascinating.
So I'm intrigued. Are you intrigued?
Definitely intrigued.
Let's see what we can uncover with your expert help.
I'm happy to help.
Okay.
What's fascinating to me about this book is how it takes these universal experiences like family, right? Prepping for tough times, maybe even, searching for a new home. And it distills them into a story that young readers can really connect with.
Right.
It's almost like a microcosm of the human experience,
I love that word, a microcosm.
wrapped up in this charming squirrel-sized package.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So we've got this family.
Yeah.
They're facing challenges.
Mm.
They have to be resourceful
Right.
and resilient, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But do you think that this portrayal of resilience
Okay.
with talking squirrels and golden acorns really works for kids?
Mm.
Or is there a risk that it's a bit too,
Yeah.
I don't know, cute
Cute.
to take seriously?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And I think it gets at the heart of how effective this book really is.
Mhm.
On the one hand, you have this very simple,
Yeah.
almost fable-like story, right?
All right.
But the way that it uses symbolism,
Okay.
especially with the golden acorn representing the family's dreams,
Right.
that's where it starts to get
Okay.
really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you find that symbolism compelling?
Mm.
Or does it feel a bit heavy-handed?
Initially, I thought maybe a little too on the nose.
Okay.
But the more I think about it, the
Yeah.
more I see how that simple image, that tiny acorn,
Right.
could really stick with a child.
Absolutely.
That idea that
Yeah.
this tiny acorn could grow into a mighty oak.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of mirrors how their own dreams
Yeah.
can take root and flourish.
Right.
It's powerful stuff.
It is powerful.
So
Agree.
let's get back to this family for a sec.
Okay.
Tell me more about them.
Okay.
Who are these characters that we're spending time with?
Well, you've got Keeter, the dad.
Okay.
He's presented as the wise one,
Yeah.
the experienced one guiding his family.
Mhm.
You've got Barbara, the mom.
Right.
She's the nurturing heart of the group.
Yeah.
And then you have their 2 daughters, Sandra and Christine,
Okay.
who bring that youthful energy and curiosity, as you would expect from little squirrels.
Exactly.
It's that classic family dynamic,
Yeah.
which I think helps make them
Yeah.
relatable, even if they are scampering around
Right.
gathering nuts instead of,
Yeah, exactly.
doing homework or something.
I was really struck by the dedication at the beginning of the book.
Okay.
It says, to Papa Peter, a.k.a. Pef and Joe. It adds this whole other layer, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It's not just a story.
Yeah.
It feels deeply personal,
Right, definitely.
Does knowing that change how you, as an analyst,
Oh, for sure.
approach the book at all?
It makes you wonder about the author's own life.
Yeah.
And how much of their personal experience is woven into this narrative.
Okay.
It adds a layer of authenticity to the story.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're getting a glimpse
I see.
into the author's heart.
Okay.
And that personal touch
Yeah.
might be one of the reasons why the book feels so heartwarming.
It's funny you should say that.
Oh.
Because I was wondering if heartwarming was the only note the book tries to hit.
Okay.
I mean, getting ready for winter
Right.
can be pretty stressful.
Yeah.
Even for squirrels, really.
Absolutely.
There's got to be some tension, some sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Did you get that feeling?
Yes, absolutely. There are definitely moments of tension
Right.
woven into the story.
Okay.
Subtle though they may be.
Right.
Like when the family is searching for their new home,
Right.
Sandra and Christine have different ideas
Oh, yeah.
about where to settle.
Right.
And Peter emphasizes
Yeah.
patience and the need to choose wisely. It's
Yeah.
a gentle way of introducing this concept
I see.
of consequences and making tough decisions.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not all sunshine and acorns.
No, not at all.
There's real world grit in there.
Exactly.
The fact that they end up making their home
Right.
in an old bird's nest,
Yeah.
that speaks to their resourcefulness, right?
For sure.
What do you think the author is trying to say by having them adapt and make the best of a less than ideal situation?
There's a powerful message there.
Okay.
About making do with what you have. About finding opportunity even in those unexpected places.
Right.
It also, I think, subtly introduces this concept of interconnectedness in nature.
Okay.
You know, one creature's abandoned home becomes a new beginning for another.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful cycle, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is where things get really interesting for me.
Okay.
Because we've got this whole twist involving the golden acorn.
Right.
Which we said symbolizes their dreams.
Exactly.
But is that symbolism actually effective? Does it just tell us about their dreams?
Right.
Or does the story show us what those dreams look like for each character?
That's a great question, yeah. It's a question worth pondering, I think. We know that they plant that acorn near their new home, and eventually it flourishes into this majestic oak tree.
Yeah.
But what does that actually represent for them? Is it simply the dream of a secure and happy home? Or does it signify something more, like the passing down of traditions, knowledge to future generations?
I love digging deeper like this.
Me too.
It's like we're peeling back the layers of this seemingly simple story.
Right.
And we're finding all these nuanced ideas.
Exactly.
And the way the book uses language to reinforce these ideas, that's another rabbit hole entirely.
It is. It is.
We'll save that for later.
Okay.
But before we move on, I want to touch on something we briefly mentioned earlier.
Okay.
The trilingual format.
Right.
You know, most children's books don't take that approach.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you think are the benefits and maybe even the challenges of presenting the story in Italian, English, and German right on the page?
It's a bold choice, for sure.
Yeah.
And while it's easy to say that it's good for language exposure, I'm curious if it genuinely works.
Right.
Imagine you're a child hearing this story for the first time.
Yeah.
Do you think seeing those three languages side by side makes it more intimidating, more intriguing?
Yeah.
Does it spark curiosity?
Right.
Or does it create confusion?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And maybe it depends on the child.
Right.
Their background, their exposure to different languages.
Right.
But I think it at least plants a seed.
Okay.
That there are many ways to communicate.
Yeah.
Many ways to tell a story.
I agree.
And that's a pretty powerful message.
It is.
Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It subtly introduces this concept of linguistic diversity.
Right.
And normalizes the idea of multilingualism.
Yeah.
It's like saying, hey, there's a whole world out there.
Right.
Beyond the language you speak.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
In this first part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
From family dynamics and resilience.
Right.
To symbolism. And even the impact of the trilingual format.
It seems like there's a lot more to uncover.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I think so, too. So we talked about the characters and the themes, the symbolism.
Right.
But, you know, we can't forget, this is a children's book.
Sure.
Visuals are huge.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Are the illustrations just there to be cute?
Okay.
Or do they add something meaningful to the story?
It's a great point.
Yeah.
It would be easy to dismiss them as just, you know, pretty pictures.
Right.
But I think the illustrations in Peter's Acorn adventure do a lot more than that. I think they help bring the woodland setting to life.
Oh, for sure.
Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, just thinking about those towering oak trees.
Right.
The crisp autumn leaves, that little babbling stream.
Yeah.
You know, it creates such a vivid sense of place.
It does.
And the style of the illustrations, too.
Yeah.
It's interesting. They combine realism with a touch of whimsy.
I agree.
The squirrels are depicted with such expressive features.
Right.
It's like they're about to burst into conversation.
Exactly.
What struck me the most was the way the artist used light and shadow.
Oh, interesting.
Remember that scene where Sandra finds the golden acorn?
Yes.
It's like almost glowing, like it has this internal light source.
Right.
Do you think that was intentional?
I think so.
Or am I reading too much into it?
I think you're spot on.
Okay.
The way that golden acorn is visually set apart from the ordinary acorns really emphasizes its significance.
Okay.
It's a clever way of visually reinforcing the idea that this acorn represents something special, something beyond just a source of food.
So the illustrations are doing more than just depicting the story.
Right.
They're actually reinforcing
Exactly.
the symbolism and the themes.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty sophisticated
It is.
for a children's book,
Yeah, I agree.
don't you think?
It elevates the book
Yeah.
beyond just a simple story.
Right.
It's like the author and the illustrator are working together to
Mhm.
create this multi-layered experience
Okay.
for the reader.
Let's shift gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about the language.
Sure.
We know it's trilingual,
Yeah.
but putting that aside for a moment,
Okay.
what did you think of the writing style? Did it capture your attention?
It's interesting.
Yes.
The language is deceptively simple.
Okay.
You know, sentences are short.
Right.
The vocabulary is straightforward, but there's a certain charm to it.
Yeah.
It's almost poetic
I see.
in its simplicity.
Okay.
What stood out to you about the language?
I was surprised
Yeah.
by how evocative it was,
Okay.
despite the simple vocabulary.
Yeah.
The author uses sensory details to paint these vivid pictures.
Right.
Like, remember how they described the forest as cozy
Yes.
and the oak tree is sturdy?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can almost feel the warmth
I know.
and security of the setting.
It really draws you in.
Right.
Yeah.
And the way they describe the golden acorn
Yeah.
as shiny and rare
Great.
adds to its allure, right?
Yeah, it does.
It's like these little details
Yeah.
that make the story come alive.
And they do.
It's like the author understands
Yeah.
that children are so imaginative.
Right.
You know, you don't have to bombard them
Right.
with complex language to capture their attention.
Exactly.
Sometimes a few well-chosen words are all it takes.
I agree.
And the repetition of certain phrases, too,
Huh.
like, my little acorns work hard to survive. It adds to the story's rhythm.
Exactly.
It makes it memorable for young readers.
Sure.
It's like a lullaby almost.
Uh-oh,
It
man.
has that soothing quality
Yeah.
that makes it perfect for bedtime.
Right.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Okay.
Do you think that simplicity
Yeah.
could be too simplistic?
Hmm.
Could it limit a child's
Right.
vocabulary development
Okay.
or their understanding
Yeah.
of more nuanced concepts?
That's a valid concern. It's
Yeah.
always a balancing act, right?
Yeah.
When you're writing for young children,
Right.
you want the language to be accessible,
Right.
but you don't want to underestimate their ability to grasp
Okay.
more complex ideas.
So how does Peter's Acorn Adventure strike that balance? Does it offer enough depth and complexity to keep children engaged?
Right.
Or is it more of a gentle introduction to basic concepts?
I think it does a
Okay.
surprisingly good job
Okay.
of weaving in more complex ideas
Okay.
without sacrificing clarity.
Okay. How so?
Well, remember how Peter emphasizes
Yeah.
the need to choose their new home wisely?
Right.
That subtle message
Yeah.
about decision-making and consequences,
Okay.
that's cleverly woven into
Yeah.
the narrative.
And don't forget the way they make their home
Oh, right.
in the abandoned bird's nest.
Yes.
That speaks to themes of resourcefulness,
Exactly.
adaptation,
Right.
which aren't simple concepts.
Not at all.
Right. It seems like there's more depth
There is.
to this seemingly simple story
Yeah.
than we initially gave it credit for.
We might have underestimated it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And speaking of depth,
Okay.
let's talk about how this book
Okay.
could be used as a tool
Okay.
for education and entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, beyond simply reading it aloud.
Beyond just reading it.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's where things get really exciting.
I think so.
Yeah.
We've already touched on
Right.
the language learning aspect.
Yeah.
But there's so much more you can do with this book.
Absolutely.
Imagine you're a teacher
Okay.
using this in the classroom.
Yeah.
What kind of activities
Okay.
would you do?
Well, for starters,
Yeah.
the book could be a fantastic springboard
Okay.
for art projects.
Okay.
Children could create their own illustrations
Mhm.
inspired by the story.
Okay.
Maybe even design their own
Right.
versions of the golden acorn.
I love that.
Yeah.
Or they could even write their own sequels,
Right.
imagining new adventures for the squirrel family.
Exactly.
It's all about encouraging creativity,
Yeah.
letting them explore the story
Right.
in their own way.
I agree.
But it's not just about art.
Right.
This book could be used
Yeah.
to spark discussions about nature. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Seasons, the
Mhm.
environment,
Right.
possibilities are endless.
Endless possibilities.
You could even incorporate STEM
Oh,
activities.
sure.
Like imagine children learning about
Right.
the life cycle of an oak tree
Yeah.
or the role of squirrels
Exactly.
in seed dispersal.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how a simple children's book
I know, right?
can become this incredible tool
Yeah.
for learning
All right.
and exploration.
It all comes back to the power of storytelling.
Yeah.
You know, a good story can spark our curiosity,
Yeah.
ignite our imaginations, make us want to learn more
Right.
about the world around us.
I'm so glad we took the time
Me too.
to delve into Peter's Acorn adventure.
Yeah.
It's clearly much more
Right.
than just a cute story about squirrels.
It's a story that resonates on multiple levels,
Right.
offering something
Yeah.
for readers of all ages.
You know, it's funny. We started this deep dive thinking we were going to analyze a simple children's book.
Right.
And now
Yeah.
it feels like we've uncovered this treasure trove of symbolism and
Yeah.
life lessons and educational possibilities.
That's the beauty of a well-crafted story, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
It draws you in with its charm
Mhm.
and then subtly introduces these profound ideas
Right.
that stay with you long after you finish reading.
Peter's Acorn adventure does that masterfully.
It does.
It's like
yeah.
every element, from the characters to the illustrations to the language,
Right.
is working together to create this
Yeah.
rich tapestry of meaning.
Exactly.
And let's not forget that trilingual format.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's more than just a gimmick.
Right.
It's a subtle
Yeah.
but powerful way of introducing children to linguistic diversity.
It is. It is.
I think that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. It's like planting the seed
Right?
that there's a whole world out there
Yeah.
beyond the language they speak.
Exactly.
And that ties in so beautifully
Yeah, it does.
with the book's overall themes of family
Right.
and community and interconnectedness.
It all kind of comes together.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
It's like the author saying,
Right.
hey, even though we may speak different languages,
Right.
we share common human experiences and aspirations.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a powerful message
Precious.
to convey through a seemingly simple children's book.
I agree.
So let's bring it back to our listener.
Okay.
Imagine you're picking up this book for the first time,
Okay.
maybe to read to your child, or even just for yourself.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest takeaway?
That's a good question.
What makes this story truly special?
For me, it's the reminder that
Yeah.
even in the midst of challenges, like the squirrel family getting ready for winter,
Right.
there's always room for hope and dreams.
Okay.
And those dreams, just like the golden acorn, can take root and grow into something magnificent
Right.
if we nurture them.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
It's a message that resonates with readers of all ages.
Oh, for sure.
Don't you think?
Definitely.
It reminds us that even the simplest acts,
Yeah.
like planting a tree or sharing a story,
Right.
can have this ripple effect that
Absolutely.
extends far beyond ourselves.
That's true.
So to our listener, if you're looking for a story
Yeah.
that'll warm your heart, spark your imagination,
Hmm.
maybe even inspire you to plant a few metaphorical acorns of your own,
I love that.
I highly recommend seeking out Peter's Acorn Adventure.
Yes, definitely check it out.
Let it transport you to this world where squirrels teach us
Right.
valuable lessons about resilience and teamwork.
And the power of dreams.
Yes, and the enduring power of dreams.
Absolutely.
Who knows, it might just leave you with a renewed sense of wonder
I think so.
and a deeper appreciation
Mm-hmm.
for the magic that exists in the everyday.
I.
Well, that's our deep dive into Peter's Acorn Adventure.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed exploring
Yeah.
this charming and insightful book with us.
Me too.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep diving deeper
Keep exploring.
and discovering those hidden treasures
Exactly.
that await in the most unexpected places.